Our next fallacy of relevance is the ignoratio elenchi, which means, in Latin, ignorance of the logical refutation. We'll just refer to it as beside the point and use it to refer to a fallacy that offers premises that have little or nothing to do with the conclusion. In this example, the gentleman is claiming that the vitamins are really good because the advertisement for them features people parachuting from an aircraft while dressed in foam rubber vitamin costumes. This fallacy is also sometimes known as the irrelevant conclusion, since there's virtually no logical relationship between the evidence offered and the conclusion that is adduced. Here's another example of beside the point. These farms are not cruel to animals. After all, the farms provide the food that most consumers want, and they do so in a manner that is cost effective. Moreover, these poultry, pork, and beef products are nourishing and contribute to the overall health of American families. The conclusion is the first statement in the argument. These farms are not cruel to animals. But the rest of the argument, that is, the premises, never broach the subject of animal cruelty. They talk instead about consumer preferences, cost effectiveness, and the overall benefit to the nourishment requirements of American families. The reasoning is beside the point. It has nothing to do with cruelty to animals. How does one avoid the fallacy of beside the point? Basically, by employing reasoning that's relevant to the conclusion. Our final fallacy of relevance is the straw man, so called because straw man arguments depend on misrepresenting an opponent's view so that his or her argument is easy to attack. We take our opponent's argument, distort it into a straw man, and then attack the straw man as if it were our actual opponent. The key to understanding this fallacy is to understand that the straw man must seem enough like the real man to deceive people into thinking that it's the real opponent and not a straw man that's being refuted. Here's an example. President Obama is urging us to support universal health care, saying that the American people want it and that it's affordable. But his view should be rejected since it will result in higher taxes, fewer doctors, and the collapse of Medicare. Oh, did I mention the death panels? As you can see, this argument starts with a distortion of the Obama administration's healthcare essentials, then attacks the distortion and claims that therefore his plan should be rejected. But what should really be rejected is this straw man argument. Here's an illustration that captures the essentials of the straw man. Step 1, assemble straw man using the distortion, misrepresentation, and simplification tools enclosed. Step 2, knock straw man down. Step 3, claim victory. Hours of fun guaranteed. Let's summarize the fallacies of relevance we've looked at. We started with the appeal to pity, the so-called ad misericordiam, which relies on sympathy for the arguer rather than relevant reasons. We then looked at the ad baculum, or appeal to force, which uses threats, either explicit or implicit, to compel the listener's assent. The ad populum, or appeal to emotion, has many varieties, and we looked at two. The appeal to vanity, which uses self-importance to attract people to its conclusions, and the bandwagon argument, which claims that, since everyone else is doing something, you should be doing it too. We then looked at the ad hominem fallacy, which included abusive and circumstantial versions of personal abuse. We also examined the tu quoque, or you too version of the ad hominem, which claims that accusers have no credibility if they are also guilty of the accusation in question. We then turned to the fallacy of beside the point, the ignoratio elenchi, which is really a catch-all term for any fallacy of relevance to which we cannot attach a more specific label. Finally, we looked at straw man, which relies on the misrepresentation of an opponent's argumentative position and the subsequent attack on that misrepresentation for its effectiveness. All these fallacies suffer from the same defect. They are irrelevant when used as support or justification for a conclusion and therefore must be dismissed. This concludes this multi-part lecture on fallacies of relevance. Thank you.